Have you ever wondered where your tax dollars actually go? Well, tonight we have the documents that reveal the truth, and it's worse than you could have ever imagined. The Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, has uncovered something stunning. Your hard earned money isn't just being wasted, it's being weaponized against you. Nearly $1 billion for an embassy in South Sudan, 100,000 to study drunk sunfish. But what President Trump just did about it, well, that's the story the bureaucrats don't want us telling. The swamp isn't just being drained, it's being demolished. And you know what else is being systematically destroyed by government inefficiency? Our nation's bees. While Trump's Doge orders cuts on wasteful spending, there's another kind of waste threatening America's food security. Our bees are vanishing, and with them our agricultural independence. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you: you can fight back. Patriot Be Best is taking a stand producing pure American made honey products that support local beekeepers. Visit patriotbebest.com and help save America's bees while getting the purest honey available, because food security is national security at patriotbebest.com. We thank them for their sponsorship. Now, this is interesting. So, you guys know I'm a champion for the Doge. Vivek is out. Elon running the show. Doge agents are now being deployed in every single federal bureaucracy. And this is so interesting. I didn't know how bad it was. Mario Nafal writes, Doge targets the penny problem. Why mint money that loses money? Doge's first revelation exposes an absurd inefficiency. The Mint, U.S. Mint, produces 4.5 billion pennies. That was in 2023, each costing over 3 cents to make. This negative return manufacturing costs taxpayers $197 million last year. Even worse, these pennies rarely circulate. With 240 billion pennies already sitting idle in American homes, about $7.24 per person, we keep minting replacements for coins that nobody uses. It's exactly the kind of bureaucratic waste Doge was created to eliminate. Canada solved this by eliminating their penny in 2013. Meanwhile, U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen had the legal power to end penny production, but wouldn't even discuss it, proving why we need Doge to tackle these small inefficiencies that add up to massive waste. This is according to New York Times Magazine. Yeah, and this is the official post from the Doge, their actual X account. The penny cost 3 cents to make. Talk about government waste. What would you do though if you didn't have a penny? Like how would they calculate your check at a restaurant or something like that? That's I mean, most people I guess really use credit cards. I mean, I'm not sure how many people keep spare change in their pocket, but we're gonna wait and see how they figure this one out. Gavin Newsom though, this is Gavin Newsom and California Democrats are spending $5 billion this year to give free health care to illegal immigrants. To balance the budget, they're proposing to cut $500 million to school facilities. What?
Facilities. We also want to maintain our healthcare expansion across the board, regardless of ability to pay, regardless of pre-existing conditions, and your immigration status. Newsom and California Democrats are spending $5 billion this year to give free health care to all illegal immigrants. Keep in mind, the state is facing an almost $73 billion deficit, which means we're broke. To balance the budget, they've identified some cuts that they can make. Sadly, they're proposing to cut $500 million to school facilities. Spend $5 billion for illegal immigrant health care while cutting $500 million from school facilities. Are you kidding me? We're fighting this insanity, so follow me for all things California. We also want to maintain.
Looks like California needs their own Doge department. Wall Street apes, if we have almost $1 billion for a new embassy somewhere no one cares about, it's time to delete the IRS. Dear U.S. taxpayers, this was posted by World Hall of Fun. Just to let you know, while you struggle to pay your rent, educate your kids, to save something for a rainy day, the Pentagon accidentally paid dictator Zelensky an extra $6.2 million of your money in an accounting error. Do you remember this?
Ukraine. Broadly. Following up from some announcements earlier this year, During the department's regular oversight of our execution of Presidential Drawdown Authority for Ukraine, we discovered inconsistencies in equipment valuation for Ukraine. In a significant number of cases, services used replacement costs rather than net book value, thereby overestimating the value of the equipment drawn down from U.S. stocks and provided to Ukraine. Once we discovered this misvaluation, the comptroller reissued guidance on March 31st, clarifying how to value equipment in line with the financial management regulation and DoD policy to ensure we use the most accurate of accounting methods. We have confirmed that for FY23, the final calculation is $3.6 billion.
Wow.
And for FY22, it is $2.6 billion for a combined total of $6.2 billion. These valuation errors in no way limit or restricted the size of any of our PDAs or impacted the provision of support to Ukraine. And while the
Yeah, that was Joe Biden's Pentagon, but things are going to change, right? We got this too. I'm sure this kind of crap is happening everywhere. All the people that are hiring family members in a high-position job need to be investigated. Indiana Secretary of State. What is going on here in Indiana?
How many relatives, including in-laws, do you have on your payroll in your various groups?
You know, we hire based on qualifications and solely based on qualifications.
I'm assuming they're all beautifully qualified. How many of these beautifully qualified relatives do you have on your staff, in-laws or not in-laws?
Everyone on my staff are uniquely qualified for the positions.
I'm not questioning that. I think they're all great. How many of them are there, and what is their relationship, and what are you paying them?
I appreciate the question, sir, but I came here to do a job, and I'm going to get the best of the best, and I'm glad to tell you that
I'm giving you that they're the best. What are you paying, and how many are there?
I think there is no secret. There is a transparent portal there for everyone to see them. So
the transport portal tells me who's your brother-in-law, who's your cousin.
Well,
that's a hell of a portal.
Well, I'm very proud to tell you that I stand with my team members. They are the best in the business.
Did you hire one of your brother-in-laws for a newly created position and pay him more than $100,000?
I appreciate the question, sir.
You did, didn't you?
I appreciate that.
You're not answering? You did do that, right?
I do have the best of the best in our office, and I'm proud to say Secretary of State's office has the best state government employees.
Mr. Secretary, I've been here a long time, but I've never seen such an abject refusal to tell the public what you're doing, and you're here asking for millions of dollars in increases for your office, and you won't answer these fundamental questions. I will have to vote against any part of the budget for your agency, given that. You take no bid contracts, you have a bonus program that is not an organized program, you won't tell me who your in-laws are or relatives who work for you, you won't deal with the fact that you give no bid contracts and then get tens of thousands of dollars in political contributions. So just for the record, I'm not asking you more questions because I'm sick of these refusals. And you're going to get a no vote on every aspect of your budget from this seat, and I hope from many others. Thank you for your time.
Wow. Yeah, so I want to bring this back up because Elon, this is what I mentioned before. They're dropping 4-person hit squads into every agency. A team lead, an engineer, an HR rep to fire people, and a lawyer. This is the notice. Doge teams in consultation with USDS, each agency head shall establish within their respective agencies a Doge team of at least 4 employees, which may include special government employees, hired or assigned within 30 days of the date of this order. Agency heads shall select the Doge team members in consultation with the USDS administrator. Each Doge team typically include 1 Doge team lead, 1 engineer, 1 human resource specialist, and 1 attorney. Agency heads shall ensure that Doge team leads coordinate their work with USDS and advise the respective agency heads on implementing the president's Doge agenda. Buckle up, folks. The Doge agents are coming. Yeah, here's a inflation ruined the penny. That only Joe Biden can do that, right? Here's more. This is from the Department of Government Efficiency. Items your tax dollars are being spent on. Ready?
Spent gin to a sunfish versus tequila, which would make the sunfish more aggressive? Nearly $1 million spent studying whether or not Japanese quail, if you give them cocaine, whether or not they're more sexually promiscuous. Was it one small step for man or was it one small step for a man? And in the end, $750,000 later, they couldn't decide. Was it one step for man, one step for a man? $2 million for the construction of a kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine. $1.5 million to encourage video gaming in New York. We might be better off spending $1.5 million to discourage kids from playing video games. $388,000 for Columbia University. Be giving a rich university that has $13 billion any money. $249,000 for the Baltimore Symphony. Give money to all the symphonies and we'd make them part of government.
Wow. That was Rand Paul with his Festivus report. I always look forward to that. Doge posted this. The last time a comprehensive review of the federal government was completed in 1984, the budget was at $848 billion. National debt was $1.6 trillion. And debt and GDP ratio was 38%. The budget's now $7 trillion. The national debt is $3.5 trillion, and the debt to GDP ratio is 121.6%. That's insane. But that's where we are. And we've got this presidential appointees. Doge Watch Report. Is it controversial how President Trump is dealing with political appointees? No. It's his administration and his policies. Sets day one hiring record with 1,300 appointees. Let's listen.
President Trump and his news contributor, former senior counselor to President Trump and KA Consulting president. Kellyanne, good to see you. So you heard Mark's report there. Tell me, this is more than just getting rid of those people who might work against the president. This is also trimming the government down, I would imagine.
It is. It is, Harris, and this is what America voted for. This is what President Trump and his team are executing on really day 1 and 2. Okay, let's give the facts. Roughly about 4,000 of the 2.2 million federal government workers are political appointees. Think about that. So the rest are what we would say in the private sector should be at-will employees. You can be fired for cause. You can be fired for really any reason, like the rest of us. 94% of employees in the private sector are at will between their employee-employer relationship. This just changes that relationship. James Shirk and Michael Regas, two men I worked with in the White House, and two men who I've also worked with at America First Policy Institute, have written about this extensively over the last couple of years, saying Schedule F should allow a president, in this case President Trump, to do exactly what he wants to do. Harris, here are some crisp examples. In the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, you have had career lawyers refuse to work on matters that they say they disagree with politically or ideologically. It's not your job to bring your politics to the workplace. We had people at EPA withholding policy information to our political appointees in the first term who had to read about it in the newspaper. So the careers are not always generous, forthcoming, transparent, and truthful to the political appointees with whom they need to collaborate when a new administration comes to town. This will help change that.
That is so helpful to know those numbers as well, because I was thinking maybe it was more widespread than that. 4,000 out of 2.2 million workers are political appointees. Doesn't every president do this?
They do. And the fact that President Trump broke a record yesterday in the 1,300 or so hires doesn't mean Joe Biden, Barack Obama, the Bushes couldn't have done the same. They just didn't. The fact that he's going with a certain urgency and alacrity that others lacked or maybe thought was not as important, that's not on him. This is what Americans voted for. Harris, they voted for a government that is less intrusive, invasive, expensive, and expansive. And it's got to start at the root. This is not just deep state and drain the swamp. This goes beyond that. And may I just say, this is not personal to anyone, Harris. This affects everyone at the same time. He basically is putting everyone on notice. You need to be, he's saying merit-based, the way the Supreme Court has said it, merit-based employment. Show up to work like everybody in the private sector must. Do your job for fair wages. And I think all this ridiculous lying and the screaming headlines and the press release you just shared with your report with your audience, those are people who are afraid. They're afraid not of what might happen, by Trump. They're afraid that they're going to be held to account.
What they think that they deserve. And that's where DEI, at least for me, the E stands for equity. Well, that's not what it is about. It's about equality. You want to promise opportunities to people. You can't promise them outcomes, because if they don't do a well job, if they're awful at it, you got to get rid of them. Otherwise, you'll
Let's see what else we got on the Doge here. There's speed of light and there's speed of Elon. XAI doubled 200,000 NVIDIA Hopper GPUs, deployed 3,200 satellites in 3 years, produced 1.8 million vehicles in 2014. Once you study how he does it, you'll understand how broken traditional ways of running a company are. Just like our government's broken. I'm glad that Elon Musk is going to figure out how to fix it. Elon Musk is in the Netherlands, apparently. He says Political Pickle is talking to Elon Musk. In the Netherlands, they round up or down from the 5-cent mark. It's nice. Might be a case study to look at. Would also be nice if VAT was already included in the sales price. It's more logical but not necessary. So, Doge is on a rampage, friends, and it's only getting started. Their new website is up, and they've got 4-person hit squads landing in every single government bureaucracy, and we're going to keep watching it and keep bringing you the latest as it continues to dismantle the administrative state. So the numbers don't lie. Since 1984, our federal budget has exploded from $848 billion to $7 trillion. The national debt from $1.6 trillion to a staggering $35.3 trillion. But tonight, for the first time in decades, someone's finally going to do something about it. The Doge order isn't just another executive action. It's a declaration of war against bureaucratic excess. So here's what we need to ask ourselves. If the government can accidentally send billions to Ukraine, what else are they hiding from the American people? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Show your support for government efficiency with our exclusive Mag Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com because Patriots know the value of $1.